What's up, everyone? Morey here with the Performance Lab of California. We're going to do another speed breakdown here. This is the race where Justin Gatlin actually beat Usain Bolt. The idea was to kind of go into what we thought is kind of the way that Justin was able to beat Usain Bolt. And one of the things that becomes evident here when watching the video is that there wasn't a big change that really happened as the race went on. Justin does a great job. I mean, he's one of those guys that's pretty tight in the upper body. I think he does a lot of upper body work where he's getting his shoulder strong, getting his pec strong, and they have done studies that show that by having a stronger pec muscles, that actually does correlate to you actually being faster when sprinting. So it is important to still build your arms even though you are a sprinter, and it seems like he's one of the guys that follows that kind of mentality. I will say that when they were starting, Christian Coleman got out to a much better start. You can see he's right here in the middle, out ahead of everybody. But then Usain Bolt and Justin Gatlin were able to catch up with them. And the thing that ends up being a big differentiator to me is that the guys that are more experienced, so Justin Gatlin and Usain Bolt, they just don't have as much wasted motion as Christian Coleman. So you can see his arms are kind of flailing all over the place. He's got a lot more movement going on in his trunk as we're rotating back. You can see that Justin Gatlin and Usain Bolt are very much straight ahead with their upper bodies. You can see how Christian Coleman, he's going back and forth a lot, and how his core and trunk's moving. So I think that ended up negatively impacting him in terms of when it got later on in the race. Now what happened with Justin Gatlin is, and that's where the cursor is here, he's got very, very good turnover, very similar to a lot of these other guys. I would say something that's a little bit unique about Justin is as he's sprinting, he brings that right leg across. So his left leg is very smooth, it's very right kind of down the middle, but his left leg, you could see that he brings that kind of across, which is a little bit unique. That means he uses a lot more of the muscles on the outside part of the leg when he's going through his swing phase. He's bringing his leg through, and then that also makes it so he doesn't use as much as the hip flexor. Again, he's going to be using a lot more of the muscles on the outside part of the leg. Obviously, he makes that work, and he probably has to do a lot of mobilization and stuff for that IT band and TFL to make it so it does, but I just thought that was an interesting thing, that even these guys that are competing at the highest level, running sub 10 100-meter dashes, still have some asymmetry, still have some areas where they aren't 100% symmetrical, and that's something where Justin probably uses to his advantage. Help him get faster is actually having a little bit stronger left leg, maybe has some type of shift in his pelvis that he's able to better utilize his lower body by having a shift in the pelvis. But anyway, what makes it so he ends up winning this race at the end, as we get closer and closer to the end, what's happened is, and one of the things that I talk about is that's very important, is the foot contact time. So as he gets closer and closer, he took a little bit longer to get going with his actual sprint, and as we get to the end, you can notice that his foot contact time is really the thing that ends up really improving, where he's just kind of barely touching the ground, still able to maintain that speed, and it just doesn't have to put as much effort into it. And that's a really important concept to understand, is that as you're going through your sprint, and as you're starting to reach that top max speed, you really have to be able to have a very low foot contact time. You should have a lot of momentum taking you forward, and so you shouldn't have to put as much effort into each one of your steps. You should just be able to tap the ground and still be able to get the same amount of force and still the same amount of kind of momentum again going forward. And I think the reason that he does that, if we go and we compare Usain Bolt to Justin Gatlin here at the end, you can see Usain Bolt starts kind of almost standing up. So see how vertical his spine is here, in comparison to Justin Gatlin, who's a little bit more straight ahead. So I think both Usain Bolt and Justin Gatlin do a good job of not spending too much time on the ground for each one of their steps. It's just the momentum of Justin Gatlin really puts him over the top at the end, because there's a period of time where Usain Bolt was actually winning this race, and then Justin Gatlin there at the very end was able to sneak by, and you can see he's leaned over that whole time in a very, very, compared to everybody else, he's more hunched over, more forward flex in the spine, and again, that makes it so he can better utilize his pecs. That's why him having such strong shoulders, such strong pecs has really helped him out, is because in his trunk positioning, that just ends up being the more effective way of moving. So yeah, it ended up being, to me, foot contact time that ended up being the big differentiator here that put Justin Gatlin over the top, is just not having to spend as much time in order to generate force there at the end. And he was having a very good effective turnover, very good effective stride length, and that's what made it to winning the race. So I know this was a little bit late, but I think this is a good video to show, you know, some of the best guys in the world, how they're competing, how they're running, what some differences in terms of, you know, how they move their trunk, how they move their hips, where their steps are, what's their foot contact time. These are all very, very important things when it comes to developing speed, is that you need to be able to spend as little time on the ground as possible with each one of your steps. You need to be able to be as efficient as you can with each one of your stride lengths, and you need to be able to create as much power or momentum as you can with each one of your strikes. And the perfect combination of that makes it so you can best create the most amount of speed as possible. Now, you know, how your hips need to be, how your spine needs to be, how much how your arm swing is, those are all variable based off of the person. But, you know, as long as you're getting to that maximum efficiency, then, you know, that's overall the end goal. So as always, thanks for watching. You know, we have different types of videos, different types of information that shows you ways to develop lower foot contact time, to develop a better stride length, to develop the things necessary in order to run faster, and goes even deeper into the whole speed mechanics. And that's why we do these breakdowns, just to give you more information about what is the correct way to run and sprint. So, you know, check that out on our YouTube and also on our membership page. If you have any questions, please email me, Morey, M-O-R-E-Y, at yourperformancelab.com. And thanks for watching the video, and we look forward to seeing you soon.